videos that I'm doing, 365 and 365 days. I know, a ton. Challenge courtesy of Sandra Gerhardt. So on these videos, I'm talking about marketing, sales, mindset, tools, systems, everything for insurance agents and agency owners in regards to building and scaling and growing their business. I cover a little bit on each video, how it applies to your personal life, how it applies to your business, and a few other things as well. So make sure to check these out. And throughout the series should be a ton of different stuff for yourself and your business. And so I wanted to talk today about a key concept of multi-channel communication. And what does that mean? That means communicating with your prospects and with your clients in multiple forms. You know, we all know the phone. The phone's been around for a very, very long time. And before that, even, you know, letters and writing. But, you know, the phone is what we typically think of when we think of sales, when we think of your business. You know, people are picking up the phones, or dialing the numbers. Everybody's seen or heard of, you know, here's a phone book, dial through, find customers, seen the, you know, Boiler Room, seen Wolf of Wall Street, and people just picking up the phones, and that's what they're doing. And that's great. And that's certainly not discounting that. And that's going to be around for a very long time. But things change, and the ways in which we receive communication, in which we communicate back, change as well. People are more accessible than ever, but it's also harder sometimes to pin people down than ever, even with all these different communication forms. And that goes with personal life as well. I'm trying to get in touch with family, with friends, with my wife, or whatever. Sometimes it takes multiple forms of communication. You know, if someone doesn't have their phone with them, but on the computer, you know, they can get a Facebook message, they can get an email, but if you call them, they're not going to have their phone, or vice versa. And also, you know, nowadays, everybody knows you don't answer phone calls if you don't recognize the number. There's so much spam calls out there, and caller ID is so good that if it pops up with private number, with no number, or a number you don't recognize, you're probably not going to answer it. You're probably just going to let it go. And if they leave a voicemail, sure, they don't, then it was probably spam, right? And so it's harder to get in contact with people, especially if they don't know you're calling or expecting that. So how do you really make sure you're the most effective at getting in touch with people? Well, you know, let's talk about personal life real quick. So in personal life, if I need to get in touch with someone, you know, what are some of my options? Of course, picking up the phone and calling. That's one. But that's not always the best way, or, you know, I'm maybe not available to talk on the phone. I'm somewhere loud, somewhere where I can't talk, whatever it is, or they are and they can't answer or whatever. Then what's another way? Text, obviously. People don't like to leave text unread. Even if you can't see that they read it, they're not going to leave it unread. They're going to read whatever text they have because they don't want to miss anything. Same thing with Facebook Messenger, another option. You know, people aren't going to leave those messengers unread. Voicemail. If you don't get the person, if you leave a voicemail, typically they'll listen to the voicemail, because normally spam won't leave that. So that's another option, is leaving voicemail. There are a lot of different ways of communicating. Of course, we can even go old-fashioned of, you know, actually handwriting something and sending the mail. A little slower, but more of a personal touch. But there's a lot of ways to get in touch with people, you know, and, you know, you can, you know, do, you know, hire a plane and do some skywriting or whatever and stuff. Obviously not the best form, not, you know, saying that's an effective marketing tactic, but just wanted to point out that there are a lot of different ways to get in touch with people. And if you're trying to track down a family member, spouse, friends, wherever, you know, using and implementing those is a great way to make sure you get your highest contact rate and get in touch with them, and they actually see what you need to see, what they need to see. And sometimes using multiple forms at one time, in fact, that's better. Your chances go up as you're using more forms. So let's take this actually to the business world, which you guys actually care about as insurance agents and agency owners. Okay, what's the purpose of using multi-channel communication? You know, why not just pick up the phone? If they answer, they answer. If not, then just move on to the next one. Okay, so the whole point is to get the highest contact rate possible. If you're working as far as prospects into clients, if you're working prospects, if you're working, you know, data, you're working an aged lead list, internet leads, you know, whatever that is, past prospects that you're, you know, trying to get back in touch with. If you're limiting yourself just to one form of contact, especially when they don't know you're calling, don't recognize the number, maybe not even, you know, real-time leads at all, or whatever, then you're really limiting yourself. And most people aren't going to pick up the phone if they don't recognize the number anyways, especially on speed to contact. Unless they just filled it out and you're immediately getting to them, then most likely, if you call an hour later, a day later, they don't know that's in regards to that, so they're not going to answer. And so you're limiting your chances of that contact rate. And obviously, you guys know as salespeople that the quickest you can get to someone and the highest the contact rate that you can get, the more chances at those sales and your overall numbers. It's a numbers game. So the more you can get in contact with, the more chances you get to talk, the more chances you get to quote, the more chances you get to close. And if you can't get in contact with them, then none of that other rest of that process matters. So let's talk about multiple forms. What all do you have as options? Okay, so if you're trying to reach a prospect and get in touch with them, don't just first do the phone. In fact, it might actually be better if you have their number to go ahead and shoot a text to let them know that you're calling and why you're calling and with your number, so they know that's you calling, not spam, then pick it up or whatever, and go ahead and give them a little heads up, maybe like a couple minutes, 5 minutes before you actually give the call, and then do the call, of course. If you do the call, make sure to leave a voicemail that's just enough info to get them to call you back. You don't give your pitch there. Don't explain it there. Try to just get them to call you back. But do leave voicemail, or at the very last call that you're doing. If you're dialing and they don't answer, and do the double tap, do the triple tap. Immediately call right back. Immediately call right back. You can say, it hung up. You didn't get a chance to leave a message, whatever. But if someone calls twice in a row, 3 times in a row, most likely someone's going to answer it thinking, it's not spam at that point. If you are getting into a little bit of automation, you can do ringless voicemails. You can have where it automatically drops a voicemail in, doesn't even ring or rings once, and drops a voicemail into them, and they see they have a voicemail, and then they can answer that. And you can do that through automation. You don't even have to leave each one. You can run a list through that. The same with text. The same with email, another option. Of course, email is great, but it gets buried. People get a million, so you need some different forms as well. Email is not normally the quickest response or the best response rate you're going to get. And then you got Messenger. If you got people within Messenger or Facebook and you're communicating through there, that's excellent as well. And all these principles go to your clients as well. Trying to get in touch with them, trying to touch base for referrals. One of the best ways I love to refer people, love people to refer to me, is just connect me in a Messenger conversation together. If you're asking someone for a referral and they're like, oh yeah, Bob would be great to connect you with. Well, connect me in a Messenger conversation, and you say, hey David, this is Bob, want to introduce you, and then I can take it from there. And then they can see that both of us can see it. They're more likely to respond. So the whole point is to get that contact rate up, and to do that, you need to use multi-channel communication. You need to have multiple ways of touching base. Do not just run through ringing. You're going to leave money on the table. If you don't get someone within the first few minutes right away on that first call, it's taking an average, potentially 7, 10 plus contacts just to get in touch with them. And then usually is averaging around like 20 plus contacts for a purchasing decision if you're not getting them on that first call and closing them on that first call. So, it's a lot of follow-up, it's a lot of effort. And if you're only using one channel and you're doing it manually, it's going to take up a ton of time, and your contact rate's not going to be as good. So just want to talk a little bit about that concept. I can go into that a lot more. We teach that super in depth as a part of the Closers Clique. And we talk about it a bit in the Marketing for Insurance Agents group, but it's such a critical concept. And as you track your numbers and metrics, you'll certainly see, the effect that has when you get a higher contact rate in your overall sales. So that's the key concept I want to talk about today. A few other things I wanted to talk about was our Webclass series. This Thursday, 1:30 p.m., we have a Webclass on social media video marketing. I'm going to be talking a bit about video. I'll be teaching that one actually, so come join us. It's free. There should be a link for you to register down below. Come join us that Thursday, and we'll talk about that a little bit and some key takeaways that you can take for your business. The recording of last week's one is actually down below, which was on mindset for successful sales. Renee taught that one. You can check out the recording of that one down below. I've mentioned the Closers Clique a few times. That's our premier program for insurance agents and agency owners that really want to grow and scale and take their insurance business to the next level. We do so much in there, so in depth, day to day, week to week. It's like a family in there of people just pushing forward and growing their agencies and just having massive success. That sounds like something that may be a fit for you. You can grab a call with us down below. We'd love to chat and just tell you a little bit about it. And finally, if you're not in the Marketing for Insurance Agents groups, what are you doing? You should definitely be in it if you're an insurance agent or agency owner, as it's the best group out there, for finding referral partners, for asking questions, for connecting with other agents, other people in the industry, training. It's excellent free Facebook group. Come join us, 15,500 agents across the country right now. And we love to have you as part of it. So thanks for joining today. I'll have tons of more of these coming as I'm doing 365 of them. So stay tuned for more. So